Welcome to Change You Kids. I'm Dr. Harrison. So there's an incident this weekend that pissed me off, made me really upset, but then made me reflect, be upset with myself and my own behavior, as well as change my perception and opinion when it comes to yelling. So let me tell you what happened. So on the weekend, sometimes I proctor SAT, ACT, middle school entrance exams, things like that. And as I'm walking in the parking lot to go to my car because I'm finished for the day, this car pulls in and there's an older gentleman driving. Well, I say older, he's probably mid 40s, maybe early 50s, and his wife in the passenger seat. And he is going in. I mean, he's yelling, he's screaming, he's got a visceral reaction. His face is all scrunched up, he's bright red. I got nervous for this lady. I thought, is she about to get hit? Is this an abusive relationship? Now, I've been in situations before where I've seen some things, and I always say something because there's certain shit that I just don't let fly in front of me. And hitting somebody, that's just not going to fly, right? Like, I'm not with that. And so I'm watching, and he's going harder and harder, and it's just, and like you can see him shaking back and forth, and I'm like, whoa, should I wait to check to see if she's okay? But the wife was just sitting there on her phone, head down, or maybe just head down, period. Not saying a word, not moving. I was like, this is really weird. And so he parks the car. He yells a little bit more, and you could see the car shaking and moving from all of his movement. And then he gets out of the car, slams the door, storms off towards the school. He's bright red. He's talking to himself. And I think to myself, you know what? I'm going to wait till she gets out of the car. And if she does, I'm going to ask her if she's okay. Does she need any kind of help? That's what I felt was the right thing to do. So I waited for about 60, 90 seconds, no movement. Then all of a sudden, she opens the door. But then the back passenger doors open as well. And two teenage girls get out of the car. About 12 and maybe 13 or 12 and 11. And I realized the wife wasn't making a response because he wasn't yelling at her. He was yelling at the girls. And I was floored for a minute. The first thing I thought to myself was, is that what I look like when I yell at the boys? Because I'm not a saint. I've told you guys that from the beginning. You know, I've got 3 boys. There are times where I've unleashed a powerful voice. Right? When all 3 of them running around not listening and I got to convey something across, like, sit down, right? It happens. And there are certain times in my life, mostly when I'm more stressed out, that more yelling happens than not. But I thought, is that what I look like? Is that me in that situation? But then I went a step further. And I sat in that parking lot and I thought for a second. I was ready to jump out, say something, ask if this woman was okay, which could potentially cause a confrontation with this gentleman, which, who knows, could have led to being physical in the middle of a parking lot at a school. Yet, because it was his kids, all of a sudden it's, oh, everybody has a right to raise their kids the way they want. I shouldn't intervene on that. If it's not okay to yell at your wife like that, why is it okay to yell at your kids like that? And then I thought even further. Like, I wouldn't allow anyone to speak to my wife like that. I would never speak to my wife like that. I would never let anyone yell at my children like that. And I would never let anyone yell at me like that. So then where is the logic that it's okay to do it because you're in private in your own home and that's how you're raising your kids? Now, I'm not saying never yell. Shit happens. And sometimes you gotta yell, right? Some people need to be told softly. Some people need a little louder voice, a little more stern. You know, everybody's different. But the amount in which you yell, how you convey that message, the movement, the gestures, the anger that's exuded, you gotta be careful with all of that. Every single part of it. I don't want that for my kids. I don't want that for me. I don't want to feel that way. I don't want them to feel the way I'm assuming those girls felt. Especially it's kind of in public, right? I mean, they had to get out of a car where I saw that and then walk past me. But then that led me to another thought. You know what we all do as parents? I mean, all of us. I don't care what kind of parents you are, how many kids you have, how old they are. Whenever we're in public and there are strangers around and we have to say something to our kids, whether it be disciplining them or just engaging with them, we're polite, we're caring, we're nice, we're loving. All that, oh, sweetie, oh, and you're answering all the questions and you got a nice different tone in your voice. But yet that doesn't happen at home on a consistent basis. The only difference between that scenario and home is there are eyes on you that can judge you. And you're allowing the judgment of others to change your behavior, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. What I'm saying is the wrong eyes are the ones that are changing your behavior. Don't worry about that stranger. And sometimes it happens where you're at your wit's end and you don't really care who's watching anyways, right? But don't worry about that stranger. Worry about the eyes inside the home. Because there are people watching in the home. Your spouse is watching. And if it's okay for you to fly off the handle, well, it's damn sure okay for them to fly off the handle. And now you've got two grown adults flying off the handle at their easiest convenience on some little children. Your children are watching. If all their life they get yelled at as a way of, when I do something wrong, this is the consequence, dad and mom lose their shit, how do you think they will probably respond and the methods they will use in raising their own children? Now, that's not guaranteed, right? But they won't have a very good example or balance of how to be loving and caring and approach tough situations or even upsetting situations as an adult where you keep your emotions in check. But the eyes that are the most important and most relevant are your own. Why aren't you watching yourself? The moment you yell and scream and lose your shit, imagine picturing yourself doing that. You'd look like a madman or a madwoman. You'd look ridiculous. But we let our emotions take over in the moment. And we don't think about any of that or the consequences of that behavior of ours. So when I went home, I said to myself, I'm going to try my best to not yell at these children. I know there'll be times when I slip up, but it damn sure won't be my go-to to get their attention. I will try a bunch of different methods, a bunch of different ways to do things. And I just have to go that route because I don't want to be that guy who was in the parking lot. He looked like he was about to have an aneurysm. And imagine how his daughters felt. And his wife was totally complacent in it. She just sat there, let it go down. That's not what I want for my children. That's not what I want for my family. And so for me, the concept and the idea of yelling is completely changed. Completely. And ever since I saw that, I've been a lot less aggressive, been a lot more calm, patient, understanding, and caring, and being careful of the words I choose and the way in which I say them. Because it's important, especially for your kids, but for you as a parent and an individual too. The ability to control your emotions and express yourself in a way that still shows that I'm upset or I'm hurt or I'm disappointed without losing that in the violence of a visceral reaction in yelling and scrunching your face and turning red. Come on, man. You're better than that. Be better than that for your kids. I'm going to start being better than that. Let's change you kids. Check out all social media at RebirthBX.